Mystery solved! Welcome back to Pushing Technology to the Limit. Today I've got another video on Zeroshell. It's one that most of you will find interesting. For those that are beginners, you'll be able to do this as well as advanced users. Basically everything that is in this router you can do if you just have the right information. So what am I going to talk about today? Well, it's in my title of my video. It is the net balancer in Zeroshell. Now, I stumbled on how to get it to work, well, mainly because of two reasons. One was because I've got a new internet connection. I got a cable internet now. And I got that last week. And I also have my DSL, which is still running. And on my DSL, I have 3 modems. And on my cable modem is only 1. But I'm getting 100 megabits down and 10 up. So this is how I was able to figure out if my net balancer was working or not. So, just kind of a tidbit for you folks on DSL versus fiber optics and cable internet. They are using, now I'm not totally understanding everything that goes with this, but DSL is IPv4 and the cable internet is IPv6 as well as fiber optics. So, I had a problem with getting everything working properly with my cable internet because of the IPv6. Now that really has nothing to do with the load balancer or the net balancer. I really don't think it does load balancing, if you want to know the truth, and if there is a way to do it, I don't think I can't figure out how to get it to work. I don't know. I mean, if there is a way, I don't know. There's no information. But anyways, what I recommend you doing is, well, I'll tell you what I did, and then I'll get to the net balancer stuff. I gotta kind of square this away, because this is all stuff that I've just figured out. If you are using cable internet or fiber optics of some sort, I would either, well, I had a choice with my internet provider. I could either rent their modem router or I could buy my own. Well, I decided to buy my own because the modem that they gave me was not working with Zeroshell. In fact, it was not working with any of my routers. It worked, but it was barely working. And I wasn't getting the speed that I needed, and it was pretty pathetic. So I went out and bought one. Works fine. I'm getting 110 or 12 megs down and about 11 megabits up, which is pretty darn sweet. Well, anyways, that's how I was able to get this all working with Zeroshell. Was I had to implement the routers to set up the rules in the net balancer. So let me get to my screen and show you what is going on in my network. And this is a real router this time. The last video I did was a virtual router, and I'll do a speed test on my both my DSL internet and my my Spectrum internet. Now don't write me comments and saying, "Ooh, Spectrum, yuck, ooh," you know, boo. No, I don't want to listen to it, because I really just am tired of paying the big bucks for nothing, which is 20 megabits. Well, 20 megabytes down on a good day. 18.5 on a normal day. So I'm tired of paying 180 bucks a month for those connections that I've paid for a long time. And so now with cable, I'm going to eliminate that to about half. Well, more than half. Well, what I mean by half is I'm still going to be running one DSL connection just to keep it for backup, and not just for backup, but for using it in the network that I'm on right now. So, without any further ado, let me get to my screen and show you what is going on and how to set this thing up and make it work right the first time. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is log into the router. Now you'll see here, as all the rest of our setups, is our networking pane. So let me go over to the network connections, or the networks where all the Ethernet cards is. So I got my Ethernet 00, which is a Linksys card, and I got my VLANs. And down here is the Realtek, or however you say that, Tech, ETH01, and then Intel 02. Now these two are my modem routers. And don't worry about the secondary IP addresses, or the two that I have here. I've got them for different testing reasons why I've got them in there. So, but we're not worrying about that. So what do I do is I go down to Net Balancer. Now, if you've watched the first video that I did, I showed you why we want to set these things up. But I never got into the balancing rules over here. Now, all you got to do is click that. Now, I've got some rules here already set up. So, they're my my different VLANs that I've got going on. Now, one's a test network. And I've got my modem here. And then I got my cable router. But I got two of them set up because I tried one way with my just my cable modem, and then it was a cable modem, and then I connected that to my TP-Link router, which didn't really work. So this next one that I've got, which is, well, let me go back to manage here. So this one right here where it says cable router, this is the one that I'm using now. It says active. All the rest of them are disabled. So now I've got my fast connection running, which is the Spectrum cable. So if I go over here, I'm just going to show you just right off the bat that things are working. Now if I do a speed test on my provider's website, which I recommend doing, there's a lot of speed test websites out there, but I want to get it close and accurate as possible. So we're receiving pretty good, amount of data. We're getting about 12, almost 20 megabits down, which is not bad. I'm getting more than what I'm paying for, really. And I'm not really understanding all the aspects of cable, but somebody told me that I'm on a shared line rather than a dedicated line, which I'm not really sure. I mean, I understand some of that stuff, but I don't know. I don't really care. As long as I get my speed, that's all I care. So we're getting about 11.9 down. Or up, scratch that. 11.9 up and 117 megabits down. Sweet! So, what happens if I switch my networks? So I come over here and shut my one off and turn on my DSL connections. So let's do another speed test. Now, like I said, I get about 20 megabits down, or 18.5, depending on what's going on. Sometimes I'll get 12, but actually it's rating pretty good. It's getting about, close to the 20, which is pretty good. Some days I get 12, and some days I get a little bit less than that. But it just depends on what's going on. We've got things here on this network that we're doing, so it may be a little bit slower and faster at times. Just depends. So my download speed is 19.5, which is pretty stinking good, and my upload speed is 1.3 megabits, which is good, but my cable's better. Anyhow, so what happens if I don't have any of those enabled? I have found out that there are, I don't know if it's to do with the network cards, the way it's laid out, but at one time I was getting only the slowest speed. Well, for some now I'm getting a faster speed. I don't know. I think I must have swapped network cards, but I think what it is that the main card, like 01, is going to get the priority speed. So if you don't set which network to go to, it's going to just go to the default, which is the first one. So that's why it's good to tell in your router that you want everything to go wherever network you want it to go to, whether it's your cable router or your DSL modem with fiber optics. Like I said, I plan to keep my DSL running, just I won't have the 20, I'll have 6 down and 768 measly kilobytes up. So that's how that works. But now, how do we set it all up? This is the part that nobody gets when I look at their information. And I just messed around with it like I do everything. And you know that by my videos. So, the one thing that you need to set is your target gateway. Now, I'm kind of doing this backwards because I just blow in and just kind of set things up and do however I want. So, I can do auto. I really don't care for automatic. I don't really understand automatic really. So, I want to manually tell it where I want to go. So, I got defaults disabled. So, I got cable. Actually, that one's, I don't think is working, but the cable router and the modem. So now I go down and tell what network I want, whether if I want Ethernet 00, which is my network area, or I can use a VLAN. Doesn't matter. So if for those, I'm going to just say for non-VLAN users right now, that means virtual local area network. So if some of you are out there saying, well, you already said that 100,000 times, well, there are some people that have never heard it just yet. So take a chill pill. If you don't have VLANs, you just set your input to 00. And then your target gateway to whichever connection you want, whether you got DSL or the cable router. Then you set your equipment, whether it's a network like, let's see here. Now this is not a real network that I have, because I'm not using those at all. So you can do it this way, 192.168.1.1, and if you want to cover a whole network address. I mean, there's other ways of doing this, but to me, this way it's more customizable. Yes, it takes a bit longer, but if you just cut and paste everything, you can just, it'll go faster. I mean, of course, you probably can type faster than I can. So I can just do 192.168.1.1 or 192.168.1.248. Or I can do, I don't do the router. I mean, so I can do that. Well, that was close enough, really, because my router would be .250. So then you're all set. So this is just for non-VLAN users. And if you are a VLAN user, you just select your whatever VLAN that you have, and that's it. And then this will go to your VLAN. Now, you can use this, you can make multiple rules to go wherever you want. Too bad that this router did not have the load balancing capabilities that some of the professional units that I've seen do. So that's about it. All you have to do with your net balancer, and basically it's like the quality of service over here. I really don't have this implemented right now because I got all my rules shut off because I'm actually doing a bunch of testing. So actually, I don't even have any rules in here. I thought I did, but I don't. So, yeah, that's the all right. So yeah. So anyways, this is my old video that I talked about doing quality of service, and it works pretty good. You can do whatever you want. Now, for multiple networks right now, I don't know how to set up, and that's one of my problems, is that I'm not sure how to set up the modem 1 and modem 2 to work with the quality of service for one particular network, whether it's the Ethernet 00 or if it's a VLAN. I'm not there yet, but that would be somewhat down the future of how everything's going to work together. Anyhow, that's basically all you got to do on your router to set the net balancer. And let's see here. Let's make sure. Yep. So everything's working. And let's see here. I lost my entry. All right, here it is. So I just want to kind of run over it with you again, that you can actually change this. So if you want to actually do a test on your network with whatever it is that you want to do, you can actually just switch it temporarily like I can. So like this would be my test network. This is my main network. And everything just switches right over. So you don't need any of these settings down here or anything. Just the three that you really need is the input. The output doesn't have any control over that in this section. And then you want to set your source IP, and that's it. I don't know what the destination's doing here. I don't think that it's being used because this is a different kind of setup. I don't know why they didn't get rid of it. So anyways, that's how you set up your net balancer to switch from modem 1 to modem 2. And I hope this helped you out. Please leave comments or questions, and I'll be willing to answer them. The one thing that I'm really disappointed about Zeroshell is that you cannot get this to work exactly like a professional load balancing router. With my TP-Link load balancing router, I am able to balance 3 to 4 different DSL or cable connections and have it multiply so it's more than what's coming in on the modem. And Zeroshell will not do it. And it's, to me, that is pretty bad. I don't know if there is a way to do it. I haven't found it just yet. But if I do, I'll share it with you. But I highly doubt, because I have tried every different which way to make the internet go faster. So I tried to combine my cable internet and my DSL router into one. So instead of getting 120 megabits down, or whatever it was that was on the speed test, I'd be, well, let's just round it off to 120 megabits down. I would be getting 140 megabits down, and about, well, I had 11 down, or 11 up, 11 upload speed, so 11 megabytes up. I should be getting about 12 megabytes up instead of 11. Now, like I said, I'm not paying for 11, but I'm getting 11, which is fine with me. And there's some other cool things that I've found with Zeroshell that I have not made the videos about just yet. One is my firewall on the settings in the Zeroshell. One thing I didn't realize, because I have a free Wi-Fi spot so that anybody that's here can get on the internet without having to get into my private network. They can just use the public network. Well, come to find out that if there's some smartass out there that that's using my network, thinks that he's going to hack my my equipment, you could do it with this router because there's no rules to stop somebody from hacking your PC or Mac or whatever other IP addresses is that you have that you want to keep private. This router is so powerful that nobody knows what the capabilities are hardly. I mean, I'm getting to understand what the capabilities are, and it's unbelievable. And I gotta just sit down and make the videos, but you can absolutely knock people off as far as, like, I'm going to talk about VLANs again because that's virtual local area networks, or even just a network card. So like if you don't have VLANs, I can isolate network cards so that you cannot have access to any of them. You can't have access to the IP address. You can't gain web access to the configuration pane. The whole 9 yards. But anyways, it's the same way with VLANs. I can isolate each VLAN so that, like in the main network, when you access the IP address of that computer, you can gain access for the file system. Well, with this router, I can make it so that nobody gets in, especially the public VLAN that I've got. I'm gonna, and I've done it on one of my other Zeroshell routers, that there's absolutely no access. I'm still having some issues though of them gaining access to some web applications that I do not want them configuring on my switches, and they can still ping them, or my cameras for that matter. So I've still got some things to figure out how to stop people from accessing those particular resources without my permission. And heck, I don't want them on it for period. I don't want them to access that. Anyhow, I hope this video helps you to figure out how to make things work, and that the net balancer is working fine for you. Like I said, you should just try 2 fast connections. That's the only way that I was able to diagnose my problem. Anyhow, I'll see you the next time on Pushing Technology to the Limit, and have a great day.